Norts, thanks for joining me today. So we are doing the next part of our documentary series, and we've been exploring how cybersecurity isn't a silo and it feeds into loads of other industries. Today's focus is about creativity. That's why I have you on. And as a fellow marketer, I'm super excited to bounce ideas off each other and see what weight the tiger has. Should we head on in?
My background is advertising and marketing. Ostensibly, I was a copywriter, writing radio, TV, social media. But 7 years ago, myself and some associates, we kind of hit on the idea that maybe there was something in AI, or machine learning, as you might call it. I'm basically a co-founder of a business called The Peeps, and we're basically a creative production company, make AI creative things, films, all types of stuff for people who hire us to do it.
How would you say that AI, from when you first started to now, how has it changed?
It was actually a perception, what on earth is AI, right? Yeah. We used to always call it machine learning rather than AI. That's a different story altogether. But in the end, we dropped all that because ultimately AI is a real shorthand, newspapers, media, that's what they call it. So in the end, we gave up. But I think a lot of kind of the fear of it has somewhat dissipated. It's still there. What's it going to do? How's it going to change society? And also, I think in terms of creativity, the democratization of it, because actually being able to use it on like your phone, devices, anything, couldn't do that 7 years ago without kind of a lot of knowledge and training, whereas now everybody
and it's accessible to everyone.
Accessibility, which is a great thing, but it's also a complicated thing as well. Time is a very strange, and hindsight, a very strange creature. So when you look back at what was 7 years ago, you think, wow, that's pretty poor.
And how much technology has advanced from 7 years ago.
Totally. And also what you output today, when we used to do talks 3 or 4 years ago, even 5 years ago, things we thought it would do in marketing and creativity, it's got there way quicker. It was very much a code world, whereas now it's pretty much just press buttons, pull levers. It's very simple. It's democratized, yes. So if you want to get involved in it and you have a creative kind of urges and you want to make things and you want to use it in your work, anyone could do it. And then it goes back to the thing that the AI itself is just a tool to express and amplify your creativity. Nothing more than that.
Do you think that algorithms and trend limit or enhance creativity?
I think, Daisy, it does both, and it all boils down to what the algorithm and the trend is. Sounds dumb, but also how that's interpreted. Think about my universe. Just think about my life. Like, Spotify is great at making you find new things, and it enhances your creativity, right? I don't know what algorithm is just basically a map to get you somewhere. That works brilliantly well for me, right? Something, say, like the world of LinkedIn, algorithm, I just sit in a bubble of stuff that, I'm trapped in. You don't necessarily find your way out. So the intent of the algorithm, I think, is quite important, what someone or something's trying to do and how you react to that.
So in your opinion, do you think that there are any risks relying too heavily on technology?
I would think that there are so many, but let's keep it short. In my world, people think the machine is the work, the output, and it isn't, is it? It's basically an enhancement of human creativity, and I do think it leads to a generation of very poor created work when you think pressing a button or whatever that input is, that the output is the output. It isn't. That's just the starting point of creativity, and it's actually the interplay, the interaction of human and machine that actually generates it. If I'm trying to create a picture that's ultimately going to be animated in a video, do I do it once? No, I'd probably do it 200 times, and then I curate. I think that's the thing that people don't understand. It's not creation that's important, it's also the curation at the other end. It's a bit like a hamburger, funnily enough, and that's generally true. It's a layer thing. You've got human creativity at the top that actually makes things, comes up with ideas. You use machines in the middle or workflow of AI to make something, and then at the output, you then have the curation aspect where you decide, is that what I wanted? No, I'll do it again.
So, funny enough, this train is heading into the future, according to the ticket machine outside.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use this opportunity to ask you, what do you think the future of creativity is going to look like?
There's always talking about agents, aren't there? It sounds like spies, about doing all your tasks. Well, that doesn't seem very creative, because ultimately, in terms of the human condition, creativity is a human thing. It's a human experience. So it's an enabled thing. But what I do think it means is that anybody can explore their sort of creative potential in far deeper, better, more experimental ways than you ever have done. Sounds amazing, you know, in the world we live in, but I do think is that anybody who's got creative impulses can do things now that they couldn't possibly do. You can make music very easily with AI, you can make art, you can make films, you can express whatever it is you want to express, and in a way that's only going to exponentially become easier and more accessible.
I think we're here.
Can't believe it. It was so quick.
Let's jump off.
Okay.
So we're heading into the future now.
Are we? Have we stepped into it right now?
So with the technical advancements, do you think that the creative sector is prepared for the challenges that might arise with data privacy, data protection,
IP, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Some yes, mostly no. And that is an issue for a lot. Big, most popular question, for example, I'm jumping. And it gets me enthused. The most popular question we do, like workshops or talks at the end, isn't about how you do this technique. It's that they always ask, is it legal for me to do this, right? And that is a minefield, because every creative platform that has an AI's backdrop has data, and who knows where that data's from. They all have their own particular kind of T's and C's, who has the ownership of it, about their use of it, perpetuity, and you do need to understand in the minutiae of what you're dealing with when you're working with stuff, to know what you can do, can't do, what you can own, not own.
You mentioned IP and data, and what do you think the issues are surrounding that, and do you think that it does limit the sector, or is it an afterthought?
I think it's often thought of as an afterthought, or even a no thought, and there are always bad actors. Interesting example would be, we recently did a project where people talk about deep fakes, don't they? Deep fakes bad. And I think the thing about deep fakes is the perception of what they're called, right? The word fake is very emotive, isn't it, right? It's called excellent copy. Whoever named it is probably a developer who came up with that name. But the point of the matter is, you can use that technology now. We've used it, interestingly, to test the capabilities, the security of companies by making deep fakes for people to make messages that go out that fool people to doing something, so they can test whether or not that business is actually... So it's interesting that you're using a technology that people think is bad for good, but with any technology and the implications behind it, the data with AI, the intellectual property, there are always going to be bad actors with bad intentions. That's just the history of technology. So just got to start with goodness in your heart, Daisy. That's what I say. Goodness in your heart.
So could you tell me a bit more about the relationship between creative technology and sustainability?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to take this off you. It's very useful. Something like VR, for example, you could, instead of going places, right, there's a great way of experiencing things immersively through VR. Now, VR's been a hot technology way back 10 years ago, but we're not all walking around with these on our faces, are we? But you can see over time with the advancement of how it's made, the hardware, that it's going to become a more interesting way of experiencing the world. It can be used for training, putting you in situations. It takes you out of your world into a different environment, doesn't it? It's great. Same with AI, for example. You can do a lot of prototyping using AI to create what you want to create without actually making it physically, right? So it allows you to get to things faster, to experiment in ways that you wouldn't do without using lots of resources. You can see like a fashion industry. Same with AR, augmented reality, for like trying things on. Like you see these apps where for trainers or clothes. So there's a lot of opportunity to do things digitally and experience it digitally that you don't actually have to use real world resources to experience it. So therefore, I think by nature that is sustainability.
So we've spoken a lot about the future of creativity, and what that looks like. But what's something that you're going to be working on in the future?
I personally would like to do more longer creative with AI. It's short, there's reasons for that. I also like the idea of hybrid creativity, where you blend lots of different creative technology to work together. Like you said, there's no reason why you can't use a blend of AR, VR and AI to create an experience. And I also think immersive experiences are going to be a very big part of creative future.
Like where we are now?
Like this, but if you could put layers upon this, creative technology layers, wouldn't that be magical? And AR, if you had AR and VR, and there was AI experiences within this. Have you seen any AI experiences within here?
No.
Wouldn't that be a nice layer to build over the top? You could have, we do that sort of thing, interactive kind of walls.
So it's been great today meeting Norts at Wait for Tiger, where we've been walking around some of the immersive and wild and wacky rooms that they have here. It's been really interesting to hear about Norts' thoughts and perspectives on the creative sector and how they're contributing to the future of technology.